All right, everybody, welcome back to the Beans No Ball podcast. Welcome back on this Sunday morning. This is the Week 10 edition of Sunday Morning Chat. Let's get started. We got our Munich game going right here. Nice little 7-0 lead for the Bucks so far. Let's get started with some little NFL news we got right now.
Yeah, so to start things off, still with some free agent players, Odell Beckham Jr. Just last night, he did announce that he narrowed down his teams to the Dallas Cowboys, the Green Bay Packers, Buffalo Bills, the 49ers, and who was the other team?
And the Chiefs.
And the Chiefs, and the Kansas City Chiefs. So that's the teams he narrowed it down to. And it really just all comes down to the contract. And, with my Cowboys, the whole freaking team has been flirting with them, all this and that. So I really hope to pick him up if Jerry Jones does not get him for cheap. Because if that's the case, then he's most likely going to be a Bill, which I'm really going to be disappointed. But apparently he's going to make a decision by the end of the month.
And, I mean, to me, obviously, it's a big blow to me. I really wanted him to come back to the Rams. But, I mean, who knows? Maybe there's a little last-second magic that Les Snead can pull. But I'm expecting him to move on, unfortunately. If it feels up to me, I'd honestly like to see him on the Giants, just to have that reunion with – now back in New York. Obviously, Saquon's really pushing for him to come back. I should say, obviously, he'd be a really solid addition. He'd really help them contend in that really strong NFC East this year. But, yeah, it's like you said, it's going to come down to it by the end of the month. I picked him up in fantasy, so maybe once he's back from that injury and he finally signs, he can be a factor now that I'm missing a good couple receivers. But yeah, I guess in other contract talks, the Seahawks, after this really incredible resurgence they're having this season, they're wanting to start contract negotiations to extend Geno Smith and keep him here long term as their starter. Sure, obviously, when they traded Russell Wilson, it was expected that Drew Lock was going to be the starter, and obviously he was gonna compete with Geno to take that role, and Geno beat him, and now look at him, he's obviously a comeback player of the year candidate and an MVP candidate. So it really worked out well for the Seahawks. Obviously it's pretty clear that they won the Russell Wilson trade, and I mean it's nice to see Geno succeeding, and hopefully he gets his money and he gets a nice little contract extension.
Yeah, I mean, Geno Smith really has been the surprise this season. He's really been getting a lot of praise as well, because we never really expected it. And I'm going to elaborate on this once again, because as soon as the Seahawks named him starter, everyone already had their doubts about him, especially with his tenure in New York. I wouldn't have doubted it, that he would have done horrendous, but he really did prove everyone wrong that he is a competent quarterback and the starter. But he could possibly be the future starter for the Seattle Seahawks. Maybe their new franchise quarterback, but I mean, you never know if it's just a one-season wonder and the next season he just completely does bad. So you never really know. And that's pretty much the news for this week. It really wasn't anything interesting at all last week. So we're gonna move right along to the Cash or Trash segment. And obviously, we're restarting again, so we're moving on to running backs. So with my cash running back of the week, I'm gonna go Khalil Herbert on the Chicago Bears. Going against the Detroit Lions in that horrendous ass defense, and with the Chicago Bears being number one in rush offense, I really expect a big game by Khalil Herbert. Hopefully, maybe a possible 150-yard game. With that defense and that rush offense, I mean, anything's pretty much expected with that. And then for my trash player, I'm going to go Alex Mattison from the Minnesota Vikings. Now, I like Alex Mattison. He's been getting some decent amount of snaps sharing with Dalvin Cook. But I don't think he's going to, be as good this week. But I love him. I love him as a player, but I feel like he's just going to be a little iffy today on I think it's the Buffalo Bills that they're playing. I think, yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously for your cash pick, I wouldn't mind seeing him go off myself, so just picking up on fantasy. But yeah, moving on. My cash pick this week, I guess another obvious call. It's Saquon. He's also on my fantasy team, so just works both ways for me. So you see the way the Giants have been, it really runs through both Saquon and Daniel Jones, mainly through Saquon. I guess you could say it's almost like the situation with Derrick Henry. It's if Saquon really goes off, he's a big reason the Giants can have success, and he's obviously been great this year. He's having a resurgence, another really big candidate for comeback player of the year, and I'm expecting him to have some pretty good numbers against, I believe it's the Texans they're going against this week. So obviously it's a really favorable matchup for him. So I'll expect like at least 20 points and maybe a touchdown or two. And for trash, it's a little rough on my end to have to go with him, but just going by the numbers, I'm gonna go with my own Darrell Henderson. I could have went with either of the Rams running backs. I just decided to go with Hendo. It's just he's really been. I mean, both of our running backs have been really disappointing. Can't really seem to hit any holes. Can't really seem to do anything. Not really that easy with probably the worst O-line in the league, trying to get them holes. But even when we do get a slight hole or something opens up, it's still no run game. You get like maybe 2-3 yards per carry, if that. So I'm not expecting to have a good game. This would probably be my. I mean, it sucks for me, but I guess it if the Rams do have success today, it's gonna have to be on the receiving end, and I mean it's kind of bleak how it looks regardless. But I mean there's some room for optimism hopefully. But yeah, moving on from that, that's gonna end our cash or trash, and we'll go back to fantasy now. And so for me, it's more the same. But I mean, I did make a slight change this week with Matthew Stafford being questionable, and right now it is looking more and more like John Wolford will get the start. I just made the decision to pick up Jacoby Brissett. He is probably the best one that we have in our free agent market. So he can be hit or miss. They're going against the Dolphins, so it's a pretty good defense there, obviously bolstered with Bradley Chubb. So I'll see how that goes. I mean, once it comes back around by 1 o'clock, I'll see if I throw Stafford back in, see how the injury report looks. But I'm expecting to keep Brissett in for the time being. He's going to be my guy. And for running backs, my easy 1-2 punch, Derrick Henry and Saquon, just two of the best in the league. And obviously Henry's going against a weak Broncos defense. As I said in Cash or Trash, Saquon's going against the Texans, who are ranked 32nd against running backs. So I feel like that's a pretty easy. Hopefully I can get 20 points from each of them. Especially against weak opponents. So for receivers, I got Tyreek Hill and Curtis Samuel. Not going to elaborate too much on it. Obviously, Tyreek Hill, he's going against Cleveland. Not the best against receivers, but I mean, obviously they can have a solid defense. So I'd still expect him to really go off today. And Curtis Samuel, they're going against probably one of the best defenses in the league. So it's going to be hard. Probably going to have, below 10 points from him. But there's always slight optimism. See if he can just go off. And you never know with Philly. You never know with football in general. It could be pretty random. Then tight end, I'm back with Pat Freiermuth from the Steelers. He's just my filling in right now for David Njoku since he's out. So I mean, the Steelers got the Saints, so it's a pretty even, poor matchup. So hopefully he can kind of give me some decent numbers. And in the flex, like I mentioned, with your cash pick, I got Khalil Herbert. Just picked him up. Surprised he's still a free agent after the numbers he's been putting up recently. So against Detroit, as we both always mention, that historically bad defense, I really would expect him to put up some really high numbers. Surprisingly, only projected at 10 points, but you would understand that since he shares the playing time with David Montgomery.
Yeah.
On defense, I keep switching it up as always. I brought back the Chiefs defense, which seems like a pretty easy call since they're going against the Jaguars. That should be a good couple interceptions, a good couple, just a great performance I'm expecting from them. And the kicker, my usual guy, Daniel Carlson, best kicker in the league. Going against Indy, I would expect him to get a couple field goals, couple extra points. Really, um, get me pretty solid in this. Give me a couple more points, and obviously, you Christian, you committed the ultimate sin of forgetting to set your lineup before
I
Thursday
forgot to
night.
set my
So
lineup,
let's
but
talk about talk about your team.
I forgot to set my lineup on quarterback. I literally forgot because I forgot Dak was on bye, and I got pissed off. But so my quarterback, I still stuck with Mariota after not realizing it. But I mean, he did get me 16 points after that horrendous ass gameplay. So I mean, that's something. But if that gives me more, I'm gonna be very upset. For my running backs, I sadly have to put in Aaron Jones, especially with the way he's been playing. He's been playing pretty decent, but he's a little injured now. So I had to take him off for Zeke. So I have Aaron Jones. I don't know. He might do well, especially since my Cowboys' rush defense is very bad. So he could get maybe like 10, 11 points here and there, but I really doubt it. For my other running back, I have who is my other wait? I know it's Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's my other running back. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is my other running back. So really expect another pretty decent game from him as well. So it should be good. For my receivers, obviously I'm sticking on that 1-2 punch. Justin Jefferson and DJ. I'm so sorry. AJ Brown. They've been pretty much my fantasy savers for the past weeks. I really hope Jay Jettis goes off again in the first half. Gets me a bunch of points, like 30. That's usually what he's been averaging for me. My tight end, I have once again Mike Gesicki. Mike Gesicki has really been he's been my sleeper pick. He's really been my sleeper player for the fantasy this season. He's really been putting me some good points. I think he came in clutch for me 1 week that got me my second win in a row. So he's really been there for me. My defense, I got the Cowboys defense. Obviously, once again, with the way the Packers are playing right now, very bad, especially with Aaron Rodgers. He's very interception prone. And hopefully we can get a couple picks off him. And it should be good. We should average a lot more with that. And then obviously my kicker, I have the man, the myth, Will Lutz. Will Lutz, the most underrated kicker in the game. Sadly, he's on the Saints and they're really, really struggling. But Will Lutz is my kicker. I've been averaging me like 8 points a game. So I really expect another pretty decent performance from him as well.
Yeah. Obviously, you got a solid lineup coming up. You're coming off a loss, aren't you? I think.
I am coming off a loss, dude. Austin Eckler killed.
Yeah, well, came off of a pretty surprising, pretty easy win because my opponent did forget to set his lineup. He had I think 4 guys on bye, so I was pretty lucky. But yeah, let's move on to our final segment, which is our last minute takes for each of our teams. Actually, starting with my Rams, it's a matchup that two real struggling teams with the Cardinals and the Rams. There's not a lot to be said. It's just I can look at it 2 ways. Just the way we, in a positive way, that we always dominate against the Cardinals. We already beat them on the road earlier. I think week 2 or 3. It was a pretty ugly game for the most part, but Cam Akers did go off a little bit. I mean, what going off would be for his standards, and he had a nice, really tone-setting touchdown run in that game. So maybe, as much as I talk about our rushing attack, maybe it could kind of get going this week. But I mean, who knows? And I guess the big storyline in this game is the quarterbacks, because Matthew Stafford, as of right now, he was in concussion protocol, and as I mentioned, it's looking like John Wolford will get the start. And for the Cardinals, I forgot what exactly was his injury, but Kyler Murray is going to be a game time decision since he is also suffering with some injury. So could be Trace McSorley time in Arizona. Who knows? But I would kind of not be too upset if Matt Stafford has to miss, just the way he's been looking so poor at this point. And not to mention back 2 years ago, I believe, when John Wolford did take over for Goff, he did do pretty good, and he had in his one regular season start against the Cardinals, he got us the win to clinch playoff berths. So I do have trust in in Wolford if it comes down to that. But apart from that, it's just as long as the defense holds the way they have been for the most part. Like, I mean, last week against the Bucks, they had probably one of the best games of the season. Not getting a turnover, but still just playing absolutely incredible. And sure, say what you want about that the last drive where they just played soft coverage, played pretty awful. But like Jalen Ramsey said in his little rant, the defense shouldn't have even been out there. The offense should have been able to close it out. But enough being said, I do expect a win out of the Rams here, just because we're used to dominating the Cardinals, and I mean, not much else to be said. I believe Sean McVay can get the better of Kingsbury once again, and hopefully a close game. Obviously, it's never going to be a blowout with the way the Rams are right now, but I expect a good win here.
I mean, honestly, we did go with different picks. I did chose the Cardinals to win this game. So, I mean, anything can happen. But obviously, with my Cowboys coming in out of the bye week, 6-2, opening up not opening up, but coming back from our bar at Lambeau Field against these on a 5-lose streak struggling Packers. I really expect a very great performance on both sides of the ball, especially the way that they're playing. The offense has been really good since Dak came back. That defense has obviously been red hot for the longest, leading the league with 33 sacks. The interceptions is kind of confusing that we don't have a decent amount of it, but I mean, it's really well that, especially with Trayvon Diggs, really proving everyone wrong. Finally playing in coverage really has not allowed really anything. I think he's only allowed like 100 something, maybe 200 something yards. Still recorded a couple picks though, but it's still fine, Trayvon Diggs proving well. Michael Parsons, literally probably the runner for defensive player of the year, especially the way he gets held every single game. Don't even get me started with the Bears game, how many times he got held and still managed to make plays, especially that fumble return for a touchdown. But yeah, Dak, I really expect a really great performance by Dak, just by everyone. And with the probably Zeke may not play today. Tony Pollard, I mean, we see what he did against the Chicago Bears. 3 touchdowns with his first, I think it's his second start, his official start. I think it's his second official start. Really, he just really proved to everyone that he could possibly be a running back for one. But Jerry Jones already discussed it. This is Zeke's team. I'm still not having my doubts though. I feel like Zeke can possibly make another comeback. But I mean, really, there's nothing else much to say. I'm really glad the Cooper Rush kept the team going at 4-2. Dak came back and fixed everything up, and just really happy. This season really was a turnaround. We've never had such an elite defense such as this year's. Especially the days with like Tony Romo, Des Bryant, Jason Witten, DeMarco Murray. They never really had such an elite defense that could have taken them all the way. This is the year, literally, this is the first time I'm actually saying that this is the year that we actually have a very elite defense with that offense and those weapons we have. I really expect it to be this season where we go far. But knowing my Cowboys, they always manage to screw up somehow. But really hope this is the year they actually turn it around.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously you got a lot of reason to think that, but it seems like Cowboys fans say that every year. So we'll see if this is the year finally. But yeah, all that being said, that is just about gonna wrap us up for another short Sunday episode. It's keep it going, kind of get us wrapped up real quick, get this edited out, and shout out to you guys this Sunday morning. So let's get some rest in and go watch some football. Still a slight chance that I will be able to be at SoFi today and attend this Rams Cardinals game. So let's hope for that. But
just beg your dad. Just beg him.
I have to. Yeah. So apart from that, that's just about gonna do it for us. So Christian, anything to close it out?
Nothing much. Just thank you everyone for sticking around, stick with the podcast. We really appreciate every single one of you who's been sticking around and watching our very subpar and atrocious takes. But can't thank you enough. And that wraps up this another successful Sunday chat. And we'll see you all later this week for the episode.